Good morning. So, um, I have my morning routine this morning where I get up, I commune with the ancestral realm, I pray, you know, I sit in quiet to see what the messages are for the day, the knowledge is for the day. And then I go about my day. And today, one of the downloads that I got for myself, or I would say one of the divine communications I received, um, in answer to my request or my permission to intervene. I give permission to my ancestors and my spirit guides to intercess in my life, to intercede, to guide me, to provide information, that I may not be privy to just with my regular five senses. Um, and today I got the message of, you are not under judgment. We are not under judgment. Everyone is not under judgment. You are not paying a penance for something. You have broken no laws or committed no crime against anyone, against law or man. And I think the reason why I received that message personally is because I am actively practicing expansion in my method of manifestation. And it starts with me wanting more, right? It starts with me wanting more, the thought, the desire, everything starts in the mindscape, right? And then it starts with the next thing is the actions you put towards it, how much action you put towards a goal solely to me depends on how much you believe you deserve the thing. Like how much do you really believe that this can be a part of your reality? Do you believe that why not factor? Like why wouldn't I have it? Like what in the world would be the reason why this couldn't be mine? Why I couldn't obtain it? I deserve it. And then the next phase you go into is I deserve it. I'm owed it. But then you have to figure out these mental Olympics. Go through these mental Olympics about why do you deserve something? And this is where you start to go into the judgment. Now you need to weigh and measure your actions. You need to have so many tallies on the good side that it outweighs whatever the bad is, and that's how you prove that you deserve something. But we live under grace. And grace also comes along with the knowing of, I may not deserve this. I know I may not have worked for it, but that's what grace is for. That's what grace is for. I was in the kitchen yesterday and I was just saying, oh, I didn't do my youngest daughter's hair um, this Sunday the way I normally do it. And I was just tired and you know how they go. So I didn't do it on my schedule. And I was kind of like talking about it, but kind of like beating myself up for it. And my oldest daughter was like, Mama, give yourself some grace. You wake up so early in the morning every day and you doing this and you doing that. Listen, just that small little statement, it just opened up this vortex of knowledge. Which, if you know, you know, you know. If you're on a spiritual journey, if you're a spiritual person, you know that the whole journey is about expanding your mind, expanding your knowledge, the understanding that you have of yourself, and then the world around you and the people in it. And so, yes, the smallest statement can open up a whole new life perspective for you. And then all day long from that statement, I began to like alchemize it. I took the thought, the statement that came from my daughter, I applied it towards my actions all day long, and it elevated me to a level of nirvana that I have never experienced before. To the point to where I was completely at peace all day long. Nothing but good things happening. I was manifesting, oh, I'm gonna win the mega ball at this point, I'm gonna be, like it took me to a state of a complete place of what it would feel like to not have stress, not put pressure on yourself, to live completely in ease. In ease. Nothing wanting, nothing missing, not beating yourself up about it. If something is, it does not matter. If you're not observing it, it doesn't exist. So if you're giving yourself grace, you're not observing the things around you, the lack around you, the disappointment around you, the things that you don't align with. You're not observing those things. You're observing the fact that you're giving yourself grace. So this is all you see all day. And then the universe just starts to give you grace all day long. Yesterday was a breeze. I worked from home on the phones all day taking calls. Yesterday my boss called and said, you're off the phones next week. This is your last week on the phones. And all I was manifesting was yesterday is, I'm not under judgment. Give myself some grace. It turned into how lucky am I? And that turned in how favored am I? Right? It snowballed into this all day I love me and I love God, because look at how lucky I am. Look how blessed I am. Look how the spirits favor me. Look how I am special. I think in order to set ourselves free, it has to start within. I think that not only does it impact me on an individual level based on my individual story, as the person presenting as Mimi, but also it affects me as a black woman in this world as well, not giving myself grace. And then the world reflects it back to me. And then I think it also affects me on the level of my community, because I live in a community that majority looks like me, whether male or female. And I think because we don't give ourselves grace and let it snowball into this complete self-love fest, like a real live method of providing yourself with care, with loving yourself, the actual embodiment of self-love, then we get the opposite and the world reflects it back to us. So even that little, that little colloquialism that we say, or this little, just not too deep, just a thing that we say, this common saying, give yourself grace, is so important on your journey. And you deserve it. You haven't done anything wrong. You've been wrong. You've probably been wrong before, but you instinctually, as a person at your core, as a being, are not under judgment. If you are, it's because you have placed yourself under judgment. And no good thing can come to you. People will say, oh, well, judgment, you can also be rewarded. You can also be this, or, once the judgment comes down. But my understanding of judgment is this, that someone else has the power or the control over the outcome. And in this case, the outcome is you, your life. So why would you be under judgment? You're not under judgment. You're sovereign in this. No one else has control over how you feel about yourself. You're not under judgment. My dad used to say this thing, I think it's a Bible verse about letting the dead bury the dead. And that just snowballed into so much for me. And during my decolonization studies, it just, but for this, for the sake of this conversation, I'm going to use it as a metaphor for if there are people who actually have the belief that they're under judgment, leave them to it. Let the dead bury the dead. Let them have that. Let them be. Okay? And you tell your story the way that you want to tell it. You tell your beliefs and your principles the way that you want to tell it. In peace. There's no need to, I don't need you to see the vision for me to believe it, right? You don't have eyes to see. Why am I going to judge you or penalize you for, or then in the other respect, turn around and judge and penalize myself because someone else can't see something that I can see? How did I become the judge? How did I become the one that was out of pocket? How did I become the criminal? How did I become the abuser? How did I become the abused? How did I become the brutalized? How did I become the judged? No, I'm not going to penalize myself for seeing things that others cannot see. I will just accept that as a truth. And two things can be true at once. I can see this. This is my perception. I am observing the waves that you can't see. You're on particles. You can see the particles. I can see the particles and I can see the waves because I observe them, because I can see them, because I can view them through my mind's eye, through the scape of my mind. My mind is not yours. Your journey is not mine. But because we're different, because things happen, does not mean that you are being judged. You are not under judgment. You have served. You have served others. You have served them well. You have learned. You have acquired knowledge and attempted to share it, whether on a small or a large scale. You have fed the least of us. You have provided shelter for the least of us, whether on a small scale or a large scale. You get up every day and you try each day to be a better version of yourself, to be more deeply connected with that I inside of you, the observer, not your mind and your body, but your spirit. You have put yourself on a way, on a path. You speak the truth and you are the light. You are not being judged. You are not under judgment.